Hi, my name is Gregory Lorenz,
I'm AJ Street.
and together we research the Philippines for the Lorenzo Corporation. For our objectives, we identify different cultural aspects and customs in the Philippines, including their government, religion, and food. This information is going to help aid ambassadors when they make the trip to the Philippines, and it'll help make their transition to living there easier, as well as make them accustomed to living life there. This in turn is going to help the Lorenzo Corporation because the success of this trip is dependent on the ambassadors. So where is the Philippines? The Philippines is actually in the South Pacific, north of Indonesia, but a little bit south of China. We're kind of located right there between the two. So the first subtopic we're going to be talking about is the government. The government is a republic with three different branches: the executive, judicial, and legislative, very similar to our democratic republic that we have here in the United States. Rodrigo Duterte is the president. He was put in office in 2016, and while corruption is a problem, it's not as rampant as it was back in the late 1900s. In 1988, a third of their budget for the entire country, $2.5 billion, went missing because of corruption. And since then, it's not been nearly as bad, but it's still a problem there. The war on drugs is very aggressive there. The president has taken a very aggressive stance on that. Sometimes it's seen as too aggressive by the United States because he's killed thousands of supposed drug dealers, and maybe not all of them are drug dealers. He's also trying to combat terrorism at the moment. ISIS is kind of having not a stronghold, but like a foothold in their country, which is seen as a problem by many.
The next subtopic we're going to be talking about is food. The food in the Philippines is internationally known for its unique seasoning and spices. Most of the dishes that they actually have originate from Mexico, but they've taken the recipes and made them their own over time, which is why a lot of them are spicy. And although the signature dishes are popular, the food market is at an all-time low. And it's not just the food market either. The food, drink, and grocery market is at an all-time low and has very little potential for the future. Over 80% of the food market, that actually the food they sell, is imported from other countries, and they have very little exports to other countries. So they're not selling their own goods, and they're actually losing a lot of money due to this. Another big problem with the food is health hazards come from consuming the food. This comes from meats that are undercooked or unprepared well, and also the food that is not clean. And this can cause like salmonella and other types of food poisoning. And the next subtopic we'll be talking about is religion. The religion in the Philippines has been predominantly Catholic since 1521 upon the arrival of Ferdinand Magellan, who brought it from his country. And ever since then, really, politics and religion have worked together. And it ended, that kind of ended with corrupt political leaders, as Greg was talking about. Cardinal Jamie Sin is the head of the Catholic Church in the Philippines. He's actually the only cardinal in the Philippines. And he had a falling out with former President Ferdinand Marcos. He actually had told a story that he was riding in his car with Marcos and his wife. And Marcos asked him why he's being so silent, and he said, "Because like Jesus, I'm crucified between two thieves." So that kind of makes the stance between those two kind of bad. But they also, Cardinal Jamieson warned a bunch of people against the corrupt politics, but the people, when the church and the government had kind of a falling out, the people tended to stick with the government and disregard the church. And also the political leaders posted a statement that they will not hear out the church in any of their political decisions as of now. And they re-implemented capital punishment and contraceptives, two of the things that they had previously abolished, which was much to the dismay of the Catholic Church.
Here's our We're Excited page. And AJ, do you have a question for us?
Yeah, what was the most rewarding part of this project for you?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. Thank you for asking that. The most rewarding part of this project for me was learning about the different customs and the livelihood of life in the Philippines and how it's not that very much different from us.